What's happening, everybody? So this has been one of the most highly requested videos that I've ever had. I put it up on Snapchat, my Snapchat's gonna be there, and I put it up on Instagram as well to see if people wanted to see it, and they did. The response was just like crazy how many people wanted to see a video on this. So this is going to be, as you saw in the title, my top 5 tips for a successful bulk or a lean gaining phase, as people like to call them now. A lot of people seem to just not kind of know how to go about a bulk in a proper way, and that it's not as easy as it seems or appears, or that people on social media make it out to be, to just put on weight and then shred back down. So without any further ado, let's get into the first tip, which is to eat in a caloric surplus. Now, for any of you who understand bodybuilding, or have been in the gym a while and know what you're doing, you watch your YouTube videos, stuff like that, it's gonna seem like the most basic thing in the world to you. But as I said, I often get a lot of questions about, Sean, how do I put on weight, blah, blah, blah. The easiest way, the only real way to ensure that you increase your body weight is by eating in a caloric surplus. So at the end of the day, guys, it's going to come down to calories in versus calories out. How much food you are taking in versus how much calories you are burning through exercise, through your day-to-day routine, whatever it may be. In order to gain weight and build muscle, you have to be eating more calories than is just sustaining you. That might seem simple, but it's actually not. And a lot of people message me saying, Sean, I've tried everything, I can't gain any weight. You haven't, because if you're eating enough food, you will put on weight. I was a really skinny kid. There's tons of really skinny people out there who started off extremely skinny, but just through persistence, through proper training, and then through proper eating as well, gain some weight, put on some muscle, build some muscle, and then hopefully build a half decent physique from that. So tip number 1, which may seem extremely basic, is to just eat in a caloric surplus. Tip number 2, don't dirty bulk, people. Do not dirty bulk. So don't just use your bulk or your lean gaining phase as an excuse to eat whatever you want, whenever you want, because you can, because you're in a bulk. That's not the case. If you're trying to build solid muscle mass and you're trying to really progress your physique and build on the physique that you had the year before, you're gonna need to do it the right way by going about eating the right foods, taking in what your body needs, giving your body the fuel to go on and fuel your workouts. What I'm talking about with this is eating the right amount of protein, carbs, fats. Now obviously this varies from person to person. There is no set amount of carbs. I can't come and say to you, each and every one of you now, eat 200 grams of protein, 400 grams of carbs, and whatever grams of fat, you'll be perfect physique, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't work that way. You have to work out your own macros, realize what works for you, etc., etc. What you can't do is just eat whatever bad food you want all the time, because there's a couple of reasons for this, and I've been guilty of this as well lately, especially since coming home from America. I've been kind of eating whatever I wanted, a lot of fast food, a lot of sweets, a lot of chocolate and stuff like that. It makes you feel really bad. Like, I haven't felt properly energized or anything, and even my workouts have begun to suffer there a couple of weeks ago, just because I wasn't giving my body the fuel it needed to actually get it through the workouts and get myself through the workouts. And mentally, I was just exhausted after these workouts as well, because I had no fuel in my body to actually work out properly. I think people think when they hear the term bulk and they're like, yes, great, I can eat whatever I want. You really can't eat, like you can, don't get me wrong, you can, but it's not gonna end well. Tip number 3 is to give it time. Lads, this bodybuilding in general, or going to the gym, it takes time. It's not an overnight process. And it's the same with bulking. I see people advertising on social media, online coaches and everything, get in shape in 8 weeks, blah, blah, blah. Here's a lean bulking guide for 8 weeks. That's an 8-week bulk, that's 2 months. That's 2 months of bulking. What kind of muscle / bulk are you gonna put on to your frame in 2 months? Especially if you've been lifting for a couple of years and you've already made all your beginner gains and stuff, and suddenly you go on a 2-month bulk, you're gonna see very little difference in your physique from the 2 months than it was at the start to how it is at the end. Me, for example, this year, I'm going to probably do an 8 to 9 month bulk and then a slow and steady cut as well. That's what's needed to grow, If you look at all the kind of good natural bodybuilders left in the world, say like Matt Ogus is probably one of the best examples in terms of his cutting and bulking cycles. Funny, I know, that he does at the minute, because he does these really long, slow, gradual bulks, and then he does the same with his cut. It's a really long, drawn out process, really slow, so he loses minimal muscle and keeps size that he's put on during the bulk. which is how you need to go about it, you know? So bulking, it's, as I said, it's a really slow process and it shouldn't be rushed. I see coaches being like, oh, put on a kilogram a month. It's gonna be fat. If you're putting on a kilogram a month, like, that's not gonna be a kilogram of muscle a month unless you're absolutely juiced up to your eyeballs and it's your first cycle or something, I don't know. But yeah, don't do that. Take your time. Take your time, people. Especially to all the teenagers and stuff who watch my videos. Take your time, lads. Build some quality muscle. Tip number 4 is to be consistent. And I don't just mean with your training, and I don't just mean with your nutrition. I mean with everything in your life. Bulking, bodybuilding, all this. It's all about habit. You know, if you talk to a lot of bodybuilders, etc., they're all kind of creatures of habit, and that's because they've built up these habits. They know what works for them, and then they consistently stick with them throughout the year or whatever. They have these set routines and rituals that they go by, set foods that they eat, everything like that, and they stick to it, and it works for them. So what you have to do is you have to find what works for you and then stick to it, and be very, very consistent with that. Be consistent with your food. Same with your training. Don't go changing your training split every couple of weeks just because you're bored. Stick with it, trust the process, and grow. So that kind of ties into the other one of giving it time. Giving it time and be consistent. They are probably the 2 most important elements of a successful bulk. Without consistency and time, you're not gonna really have successful growth period from your bulk, which is what you want. At the end of the day, if you are bulking, you want to grow. Tip number 5. Honestly, I think this is the hardest thing. I know Dano thinks this is the hardest thing about bulking. This is why Dano essentially can't bulk. It's don't be afraid of seeing an increase in body fat and the mental side, the mental difficulty that comes with a bulk. When you bulk, you will inevitably put on a few pounds, you know. You won't look as aesthetically pleasing as you did when you were cut or whatever. And if you are somebody who has been shredded in the past, this is very difficult, and it's very difficult to get your head around, because when you're looking at it in the mirror, you're looking at yourself actively disimproving your physique for the time being to improve it in the long run, which seems counterintuitive at the time, but you'll thank yourself for it in the future. So at the minute, I've been really struggling with this lately, lads, and I'll be dead honest about this. Like, I've been finding this really, really difficult lately because I was so lean for the competition, so lean during the summer. Like, I haven't not had abs since like last February. Now I've come back here and I've been eating again, I've been bulking again, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm like, damn, I don't like how I look at the minute. You know, I'm not as lean as I'd like to be, but I'm thinking in my head, but next year I'll look even better. And it is really a difficult thing to do, and like I accept fully the fact that it is very, very difficult. And I think it's fair to say that the people who are able to do that and able to accept that mental side of things and take on that mental challenge are the people who will ultimately have the best physiques, because they're willing to sacrifice their short-term appearance for their long-term goal of whatever it is they want to achieve physique-wise. I know there's a lot of young lads who watch these videos and stuff. It's very difficult for young guys as well, you know, 16, 17, 18. Obviously at that age you should be bulking, you know, those are the best years of your life to be bulking. You've got beginner gains, you're losing puppy fat anyway, so you're kind of leaning out, you're still growing, so it's the best time of your life to be bulking. But it's very hard to bulk at that age because you're kind of thinking in the back of your head, there's always going to be that one muscly guy, he's got abs, why can't I have abs as well, or whatever, and you're trying to impress girls, stuff like that. You know, I get it, man, I was that age once as well. If you can bulk, and if you can master the mental side of a bulk, you're going to come out the other side of it so much better, and in such better shape, and even mental shape, than somebody who can't do it. Now, lads, I'm not saying it's easy, I'm really not saying it's easy, I accept that it's very difficult to do that, but if you can do it, you're going to have a very good bulk. You're going to build some quality muscle, and then when the time comes to cut, you're going to be mentally equipped to cut in the right way as well. Lads, they're my top 5 tips for a successful bulk. Hopefully some of you enjoyed them, you can take something from them. Hopefully they helped some of you. If they did help, let me know down in the comments below. If there's any more of these videos, this type of just sit down and advice videos that you'd like to see, let me know, I can do that as well. Today, this is going to be the first video of daily videos this week. It's a big commitment, but I'm off college for the week, so I said I'm going to do daily videos. So this one is going to go live today on Monday, and then there's going to be another video every single day this week as well. So make sure you stay tuned, subscribe if you're new, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Peace.